Songs of Silence combines the Banner Saga vibes with turn-based strategy and auto battles. The mix of turn-based strategy and managing your territory and moving about and handling your troops through the real-time battles is as gorgeous as the rest of Songs. Manage your very own fantasy kingdom while navigating 3 playable factions and a boatload of troops. Songs of Silence mostly takes place on a world map like an RPG, while the movement is more akin to a turn-based strategy game. You click on your group and move the mouse around the map, and a number shows how many action points the group can use before it stops moving or doing anything else for that turn. Entering combat immediately depletes them of action points in their reserves, and you can take control of however many unit groups you want in the map before ending your turn and letting the opponents perform their moves. There are some interesting abilities present that you don't commonly see in turn-based strategy titles. For ones, you can have 2 groups meet up to exchange units without going to the base, mimicking what you would do in a real-time strategy game when you form up and disband groups on the fly. Battles mostly end with retreats, and you can chase down retreating enemies if you don't want them to regroup and try attacking again. Taking down a base requires you to lay siege to it for a turn before you can attack. Once you conquer a base, you can also choose to raze and pillage it instead of taking it over, which has potential consequences in the future. Troop movement is always done in a straight line, and you can move multiple times to go around objects in one turn if you have the points for it, avoiding the need to burn turns to navigate around something. Unlike other turn-based games, Songs of Silence has no visible grid, and that can be a problem when you try to send troops to a locale that the game deems as an invalid movement. The lack of clarity can lead to frustration, and hopefully this is addressed before the game launches. When it comes to the battles, the game takes inspiration from 2 completely different sources. The fights mainly play out as auto-battling sessions where you have no control over where your troops go or who they attack. You simply sit back and hope that things play out in your favor. If you're not content with that, you can use cards to issue more general commands, like summoning special units on the field, powering up troops for a few seconds, or retreating. It doesn't play like a standard card battling game, as your cards always remain in hand, but you are beholden to a cooldown timer before you can play any of them again. While the developers argue that the use of cards is more of an aesthetic choice, that isn't necessarily true, as you get a choice to upgrade those cards or adding new ones to your arsenal whenever you level up. The choice to make this part of the game an auto-battler is interesting until you realize the developer's desire to ensure that it doesn't take much time to finish a map. It works well enough for those with busy lifestyles, and using cards provides some level of control. It will be interesting to see what kind of cards are added later, and whether you can customize that selection to give the game a deck builder feel. This system makes for an engaging experience that's also quite relaxed, and it's very tactical, emphasizing decision-making over speed. It can get quite intense in a way, as you have to sit there and root for your units to win without being able to do much more to help. The presentation thus far is alluring. The illustrations for the character portraits are gorgeous, and the rest of the game takes on that style on a smaller scale. The world map and battlegrounds have a good amount of detail, while the units animate well despite their diminutive size. Overall, Songs of Silence is intriguing. The idea of creating a strategy game that borrows elements from almost all other types in the genre seems daunting, but the execution works. It is worth a try for all strategy fans and brings fresh wind to the genre.